What is up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Mako Tool Supra.
Comes back, he's gonna send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're gonna Sean Banks is gonna win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWard. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time, and they know it. Horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
From the northeast corner of Tennessee to the sandy beaches of southern Florida, these Challenger Series drivers find their way to Homestead, Miami for the final race of the inaugural season. Live on V-Speed, we welcome you to race number 10 for the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series. Stepping in for Bradley Cooper tonight, my name is Logan Threlkeld. I will be your host and producer. Alongside me, you've seen him all season long, the driver of the 48 in the Cup Series and current points leader, Jeff Wright. Tonight at Homestead, we are nearing the 29th anniversary of this track in just a few days. Opened up November 5th, 1995. These drivers tonight will be battling it out on this 1.5 mile track for 100 laps. 18 to 20 degrees banking in the corners, a little bit of bank on the back and front stretch of 3 degrees. Just our standard 4-corner oval setup for tonight. Race analysis up on the screen. Again, 100 laps, pit road speed of 45 miles per hour, 4 tire sets over the wall, 2 green-white checkered attempts, and an 80% fuel load with the iRacing fixed setup. Now, Jeff, you put a lot of hard work into calculating the points for the Challenger Series with the drop week in play. Give us a rundown on who we have fighting for this Season 1 championship tonight.
Well, really, we got 3 guys that can realistically win this championship tonight right here at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and that's going to be Dakota Floyd, Matthew Radford, Jordan Trask. Now, with the drop week in play, the points look slightly different, but not by a whole lot. So currently, with that drop week factored in, it's Dakota Floyd leading Matthew Radford by just 19 points, and then Jordan Trask is still within 1 race at 37 points. So he'll need those guys in front of him to have some bad luck tonight or maybe get some penalties, but it is still possible. Any 3 of these guys could be our champion at the end of tonight.
Absolutely, as we see a lot of these drivers up here putting in full season worth of work. You see myself down there in the 10th position. I will have no opportunity whatsoever to come away with even a top 5, but I'm happy to be up here in the booth. As I said, this is the last race of the season. You see it there at the bottom. November 2nd, Homestead. There's nothing following this. This is the deciding race here tonight for those 3, potentially 4 drivers to come away with this first season win in the championship points. But we are starting to get to the gridding action here. We will pull that up in just one moment and go through our starting grid. Jeff, is there anybody you think we should keep our eye on here tonight?
Well, aside from the 2 guys that are top in points right now, I think there's a handful of guys that could really spoil us, and one of those being Brian Chambliss. He's obviously very good at racetracks with a lot of high tire wear. Homestead, Miami is one of those racetracks, so I think you got to definitely keep an eye on Brian Chambliss, but also guys like Bryce Shoemaker. He got a top 10 here in the Cup Series in Season 2, so he obviously knows how to get around here. And to be good here, you have to be good on the long run. That's really important at this racetrack, and both of those guys, they definitely have that ability.
Absolutely. We have most of these trucks on the field, so let's move down to our grid and take a look at who we have starting out on the pole. Nathan Ferrata in the 07 takes home the first starting position with a 32.738. Next to him, Noah Michalski in the 03 with a 32.908. In the second row, Chuck Sweeting in the 75 next to Dakota Floyd in the 57. Philip Brewer in the 44 Zen Machine will start out in 5th next to Rob Hamp in the 6th position. Starting in 7th, Brian Chambliss, who Jeff just mentioned, in the 9 truck, next to Michael Muncie in the 8th. John Sanu in the 86 will start out here in 9th, next to Jordan Trash in the 79, starting out in 10th.
And in the 11th position is going to be Joe Spinelli in the 76. Had a really good practice there, so keep an eye on Joe. In 12th, we'll be starting in the 81, Matt Shanowski. In 13th, it's going to be Morgan Cook alongside Austin Belkey starting in 14th. In 15th will be Caleb Weekly, and to his outside, Bryce Shoemaker in the 43. Keith Shoemaker will start 17th, followed by Jace Coley, Brandon Wallace, and Matt Dominic is your top 20.
Following up the top 20 in 21st, Chris Rude, our representative from Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes. Next to Max Cost in the 63, starting out in 22nd. Matthew Radford in the 97 will start out in 23rd, next to Brian Hennings in 24th. 25th will be Benjamin Richards in the 56, next to Jeremiah Reed in the 26th position. Michael Jones will bring up the back of this field in that 2 truck starting out in 27th. Let's get down to the field as they are on their pace lap, and we will see this go green here shortly, coming around the back stretch. Seeing Nathan Ferrata in that 07. Very, very good qualifying effort from him, about 0.2 faster than his contender next to him in the 03, Noah Michalski.
Yeah, and Ferrata's definitely going to be a guy that is going to be a heavy favorite tonight. Obviously, he is the only multi-time winner here in the Challenger Series this season. He'd like to go out strong. Not going to have a chance at the championship tonight, but I think his only goal here is to try to come out with another race win. And I definitely think he can do that. Just looking at his speed, his qualifying spot is going to be in a really good spot right here.
Absolutely. It's always nice to be up at the front of this field here as the pace car comes down. And we will see the last start of the season as a Nathan Ferrata takes the green. Noah Michalski with a very good start as well. Did not lose much positioning back there as we got some 3-wide action right behind him. That's the 57 of Floyd, the 44 of Brewer, and the 18 of Hamp. Multiple cars. We almost have 4 wide back here already.
Yeah, I was just going to say that. Almost saw 4 wide there just for a moment. But, I mean, if you're Dakota Floyd right here in the 57, I feel like you're just trying to finish this race without incident. I know Dakota's going to be good enough to run really well here tonight. But, man, in these early goings and you're the championship point leader, the last thing you need is to get caught up in something. So I'm sure, although he's got that big point buffer, I'm sure his heart's beating pretty hard right now.
It has to be. There is no time to relax with a situation like this. Again, like you said, not a must-win situation, but at least a must top 5 if you want to keep that points lead. He's got a lot of competition up here at the top of the playoff drivers, or well, points drivers rather. But man, it's going to be a good one tonight.
And you're already seeing, right, Chuck Sweeting already started to make some moves here. He's been so close this season, Logan, on a handful of race wins, but just hasn't been able to quite do it yet. This is another track that I think really, falls into the wheelhouse of Chuck Sweeting, with it being a racetrack that tends to, really wear the tires. A lot of times this is a racetrack where you might get your longest run of the season, just because, this is not only an abrasive racetrack, but I mean, it's just a handful. I mean, as you see Noah Mahalski get really loose there, he catches it, but the trucks will probably get spread out a lot here at Homestead, Miami, and that usually allows for some good green flag racing.
It absolutely will, and one person to keep their eye on, sitting, I believe he was third in points, the 79 of Jordan Trask, already up 4 positions so far in this race. So good starting effort for him. Let's see if he has that long run pace as Philip Brewer looks to the inside. He's going to get the edge ahead of him just for the moment, but that high line here carries so much speed. If Brewer does not slide up as he does, Trask will look to the inside. It's back down to that left rear fender of the 44. Now, Jeff, I don't know how much experience you have here at Homestead. I would assume quite a bit. You're fast just about everywhere that you drive, at least in the Cup Series. What does it take as a driver to really navigate this track?
I really think the biggest thing that pays off and pays dividends here is patience. I mean, this track has a lot of grip. I mean, it's abrasive, but it's got a lot of grip. And it's so easy to be able to push that car a little bit too hard. And even if you feel like you're not even pushing the car hard, you will pay for any sort of, overstepping it. So I feel like the guys that can really have a lot of patience, take their time, kind of stick to the plan and stick to their pace, continue to hit their marks lap after lap, are going to be your ones that rise towards the top here. Obviously, clean air is always a big factor wherever we go. But I feel like, at least of all the tracks that we've been to here on the Challenger Series, this is by far the highest tire wear track we're going to see. So I think if if we're fortunate enough to be able to see a long green flag run, maybe some green flag pit stops, we've yet to see that this season. I think you're going to see those guys who are most talented at saving and conserving rise to the top here.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just saw Morgan Cook with a fantastic move coming out of turn 4, got to the bottom side of the 81 of Matt Shinowski. Made that pass going through turns 1 and 2, so he puts himself up another position here. Looking to the inside of Austin Belke, almost contact there for the 54 and the 24. Kept it clean as Cook falls in behind the 24. Up a little bit further here, a battle between the 19 and the 44. Michael Muncie and Philip Brewer. The 19 looks to take the line away from the 44, but does not have a chance to clear as Brewer edges ahead entering turn 3.
Yeah, and look at the run that he's able to generate off the high side here. And now the high side can be such a great tool to make passes and to defend. But the problem is you run up there a little bit too much or too early, and you're going to chew those tires out big time here. So although he's making it work right now, you got to be mindful of that. You got to make sure to, make sure you don't burn those tires off completely, because we get to lap 20, lap 30. You're really going to start seeing the guys who abuse the tires, and you're going to see those guys who are pretty conservative, and save those tires on the bottom of the racetrack. You're going to see those guys start to move forward.
There's one thing that's for certain that really comes into as a factor for tire wear as well, is the track temperature. And we obviously have a night race here tonight. Started here late afternoonish. But right now, track temperature only 83 degrees, so that tire wear might not be as big of a factor, but obviously you still have to be very mindful of it. But the Nathan Ferrata able to handle it so far no matter what, already out by 0.8 of a second over second place. He's showing he has the short run speed. Will he have the long run speed to keep this in the position where he's at?
Yeah, so far, very smooth sailing by Nathan Ferrata here, and he's kind of running that same line that I like to run here when I'm racing at Homestead, and it's straddling that bottom seam. So not all the way down at the white line like you see it on a lot of the traditional 1.5 milers, on the NASCAR schedule, but he's just straddling that bottom seam right there. And it kind of, helps turn the truck in a way. When you're on that seam, you use less wheel, means you're going to use less tire, and that means your tires are going to be really good on the long run. So far, just by looking at his line, I think Ferrata's doing a really good job.
Absolutely, he is. We got a slurry of cars back here around the 15th position. Caleb Weekly sideways into the wall. No caution, flag is out. But Weekly, good contact with the inside wall there. That is going to hurt his chances of coming away with the top 10 tonight.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Caleb. I didn't really see exactly what got him sideways there, but obviously some heavy contact there with the inside wall. That's going to damage the front end of the truck. That's going to hurt the downforce. You have to wonder if he's going to be down a little bit of RPM, so he's going to be slower on the straightaways. Very unfortunate he didn't catch a yellow there either, because now he's going to be losing a lot of time every single lap here in the early goings right here at Miami.
Let's take this back real quick and take a look at Weekly, see if we can figure out what happened to him. Further back than this. Here we go. All right. A little bit of assistance there is what happened to Weekly. Got a nose to the left rear of the 13, so that'll do it.
Yeah, he's able to roll away from the incident, but man, I am just absolutely shocked that did not trigger a caution. So I know there's a lot of guys in here that are probably, committed to that, tire saving mode. And those guys definitely don't want to see a caution at this point. But I mean, now Caleb's going to be, at least more than half a lap back. And if we don't see some sort of caution fly soon, he could be at risk of going a lap down just because of the speed disadvantage he's going to be on with all of that damage.
Yeah, that's one thing that you really have to be weary of is that front end damage. It might be 1.5 miles, but aero does come in as a huge factor for how these trucks can rotate through the corners. With the damage on the front end of that 13 machine, it's going to be very hard for Caleb to run the line that he wants to run.
Looking back through the field here currently, and I see the 65, Jace Coley, he's up a handful of positions. He's up from 18th to 13th, so good run there for Jace. Obviously riding on board here, Brian Chambliss, one of the guys that I thought we're going to have to look out for sure tonight. You can see him. He's kind of staying at the bottom of the racetrack, straddling that first middle seam there. I still think as we get towards the end of this race, Logan, I think that this 9 truck Brian Chambliss is going to be somebody we got to look out for. He's very good on the long run. He's very good at taking care of his stuff. And if we get green flag pit stops, he's really good on pit road as well. So doing okay right now, kind of hanging on towards the back end of the top 10 at the moment, but something tells me he's just kind of riding, minding his own business and trying to take care of his stuff.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And you had mentioned Jace Coley just a few seconds ago. Right now up 6 positions, but there is one more driver on the field. Sorry, 2 more drivers on the field that are up a little bit more. And that is the driver 2 spots behind Coley. Max Cost in the 63 is up 8. The biggest gainer on the field, Jeremiah Reed, back there in the 19th position, is up 7 at the moment.
Yeah, Max Cost has had a very consistent season. He's sitting 5th in points. Only 2 top 10s to credit to his name so far this season, but he's ran much better than that. I mean, he's been, inside the top 5 at a lot of these races towards the end, but sometimes things just hadn't worked out for him. So we know how good Max Cost is, and we know how consistent he's been. And consistency, that is what wins championships. And we can say the same thing, for Dakota Floyd. Currently riding right now inside the top 10 right there in 9th. But he's your points leader, and he's got, I believe, 6 top 10s on the season and 6 top 5s. So hasn't been able to crack it into victory lane yet this season. But sometimes you don't need to win a race to win the championship. You just need to be good every single week and limit your bad weeks. And also another big factor, 0 penalty points. That's also something that, is going to make a championship run a whole lot easier. So great job by Dakota Floyd this entire season. No penalties, very consistent, good finishes pretty much every single week.
Yeah, there's something I always like to say, and it's consistency is key. If you've seen any of the broadcasts I've been on, you'll hear me mention that multiple times throughout a race. Dakota Floyd, one of those drivers who understands that and puts that into effect week after week. A little bit further ahead of him, saw a little bit of movement here between the 9 and the 18. Brian Chambliss, Rob Hamp a little loose through that last set of corners, allowing Jordan Trask to get around him. And now Michael Muncy looking to the inside of the 18 machine. Little loose out of turn 4 there. It's back below the 79. That high line just carries so much speed. It's hard to compete with at times.
It really is. I mean, and later in the run, you're going to see those guys that were on the bottom pretty much, from the drop of the green flag. Eventually, there's going to be a point to where, there's pretty much no reason not to go up to the high side to try to start making up ground. It's just, if you do it too early, you really pay the price. But, if you wait 20 laps or so, look like some of these guys have, then you start migrating to the top. Then you can run it a little bit more effectively. It's just those guys that go up there a little bit too soon, burn the tires off. You see those guys drop through the field really quickly. But so far, great drive right here by Rob Hamp. Obviously new to the SNR Challenger Series as of last week. Made his first ever start at Bristol and got second. So anytime you can come into a new league, Logan, and post a second place finish, I mean, that kind of tells you that this guy is going to be somebody that everybody else in this field is going to have to worry about for seasons to come.
I do have to say, last week at Bristol, being on the track and behind that 18 truck, he is a very hard individual to pass. I did not have any fun being behind him.
Yeah, I bet not. I mean, I had a good seat to watch that too. So obviously he knew when to push, he kind of knew when to save, and brought it home for a great finish right there in P2. Obviously Caleb Weekly, our race winner last week at Bristol, not having the night that he wanted to have so far. 26 seconds, I believe, right now behind the leader. So a couple more laps here, and he's going to be possibly going a lap down. But I do think we are going to be starting to get pit stops here soon. So he might be able to play it right and maybe try to go long, maybe catch a caution. Or if you do get lapped, I would probably just bring it down to pit lane right away and go for that short pit and try to gain some ground on the leader.
Yeah, and take that opportunity to pick up some damage repair. But man, what a battle here between the 43 of Bryce Shoemaker and the 65 of Jace Coley, battling back and forth corner after corner. We've seen the undercut. We've seen the high line working for both of these drivers. It's only a matter of time before one of them makes that mistake that the other one needs to get some separation between those two trucks.
Yeah, running the high line, I mean, it is so on edge up there, because if you just drive it in just a hair too deep, you're going to catch the wall. And so far, Bryce is doing a really good job of running that high line. And like I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Bryce knows how to get around this place. He got 10th here in Season 2 of the SNR Cup Series. So I'm not surprised at all to see Bryce making ground early. He's already up a few spots from where he started. And I believe in that truck right there, I want to say, is that Matthew Radford, our second place, second in points, I believe, sitting in the pink and purple truck. So far, not quite doing enough to be able to make a dent in that points lead by Dakota Floyd, but still a lot of racing ahead of us.
Absolutely a lot of racing left. Matthew Radford's currently sitting in 17th. He is up 6 positions from where he started. And that's the bad thing about a track like Homestead, is it's not the easiest to pass. So a good qualifying effort can go a very, very long way. Radford, unfortunately, just did not have the best qualifying time in the field tonight, starting way back towards the back of the pack there. Not too sure what happened to him, but he's got a lot of room to make up before he can do any sort of damage to that points lead of Dakota Floyd, currently sitting in 7th.
Yeah, and if you're Dakota Floyd right now, you're kind of taking note of where Radford is running at the moment. So obviously, if you're ahead of him, you're going to win this championship tonight, if you don't run into any penalties or anything like that towards the end of the race. But, Dakota hasn't had any penalties to his name so far this season, so wouldn't expect him to probably get one at all tonight. But, now that makes Dakota Floyd probably feel like he could maybe go out there and be a little bit more aggressive. If Radford was a little bit closer to him or right behind him, you're just trying to make sure that you don't get in any trouble, don't get in a wreck, that sort of thing. But we're going to have pit stops coming up here soon, and I think this is going to be in a really exciting part of the race, because we haven't gotten this all season long. is see a full green flag cycle. And I think that's where you're going to see guys have a really good opportunity to make up a ton of time. You can only do so much on the racetrack, Logan, but in the pits, I mean, you can make up a handful of seconds, and that's going to show up big time here on the scoring pylon.
Speaking of Dakota Floyd, finally able to get around the 79 of Jordan Trass. Now he's got to hunt down the 9 of Ryan Chambliss. Trass, not one to forget about. He's up there in the points for a reason. Another very consistent driver with a handful of bad luck. He can really do some damage if Dakota Floyd has any sort of mistakes tonight.
And I didn't even realize it, Logan, but we have a change for the lead here that just recently happened. Noah Mahalski made the pass on Ferrata. Ferrata's starting to drop through the field a little bit. We see Philip Brewer up to second, and Noah is putting down some really good lap times right now. So that's kind of what I said, at the beginning of the broadcast, is you're going to see those guys rise to the top right around that lap 30 mark and see who are the ones that have really saved their tires a lot. Noah's a really smart driver. I know he probably wasn't going all out at the beginning. He was probably, knowing that this place is known for shredding tires, and he's really ripping that bottom line. And sometimes that can be really hard to do here at Homestead. It can be a really tight racetrack, especially if you burn that right front off. It's near impossible to run the bottom, and you have no choice but to go up to the wall. But so far, Noah is doing a great job right here. He's been close a few times at getting a race win here in the Essner Challenger Series, but hasn't quite been able to do it as he's passing Caleb Weekly. That's going to put Caleb one lap down.
Finally, we saw Caleb Weekly get tangled up way earlier. He's lasted a lot longer on the lead lap than I thought he would. But a little bit further back here, Chuck Sweeting has now made his way around the Nathan Ferrata in that 07. So like you mentioned, Ferrata just using up all of the tires a little bit too early. You see him running very low on the backstretch here. Not sure he is going to bring it down pit road this time by. He knows what he needs.
Yeah, and he's electing to take the access road. So that is not a requirement at this racetrack for pitting in. So not sure if Ferrata was aware of that, but that's probably going to cost him a lot of time on the pit sequence here. So you do, however, have to use the access road on the exit of pit lane, but on the entry, you've never had to use that in iRacing. So that could be costly for him. That could cause him a handful of seconds.
Take a look back up front here. El Mahalski, Philip Brewer has got up to him. A little loose on the corner exit, loses that ground that he just gained. Man, it's a battle up here at the front of the pack.
It definitely is. I mean, he was sideways coming off the corner there, and that just shows you how hard these guys are driving right now. This track is just such a handful, especially we are deep into a long run right now, so these trucks are on edge. These things are not handling well. You can see both of these guys kind of moving around the racetrack, trying to figure out where's the fastest line, and where is my truck driving the best. He went to try and make a pass for Noah, but as soon as he turned down, that truck got really sideways. Gonna slide the tires a little bit, so they're gonna have a little extra heat in there. He might have to slow down here for a few laps, try to cool those tires off, and then try to maybe make another run at it.
Got word now on the Nathan Ferrata situation from race control. Evidently the 07 very hard into the wall. That is why he has lost that front running spot. Fortunate that we did not catch that here, but Ferrata, a lot of damage to get fixed up before he can get back out here on track.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Nathan. He was obviously very, very quick there. And as the leader, when you qualify on pole, it's super easy to overstep and push your truck a little bit too hard, just because you got that clean air, you got that extra grip. So when you're the leader here, you kind of just gotta harness that a little bit. You have to back down and drive the track a little bit, almost under speed a little bit in a way. We did see Philip Brewer. He got into the wall a little bit there, but he's going to be okay. But I mean, just look how close these guys are. I mean, he got the wall there again, but that's what you got to do at Homestead to make time up on the high side. You really got to get really close to that wall. The only problem is you just overstep that just a hair, and you're going to get in the wall and you're going to lose some time.
You absolutely are. We'll take a look back here at the 57 of Floyd, caught up to the back end of the 75 of Chuck Sweeting. Will he have the power in that Toyota to get around the 75 Chevy?
We're really starting to see Dakota Floyd put down some good lap times as well. We saw him start 4th, and that's where he's currently running. But he did fall through the field a little bit, I think as far as back to 8th or so. But now towards the end of the run here, you're seeing that Dakota Floyd, our championship points leader, really took care of the tires well here. And now he's back up inside the top 5. We just saw Chuck Sweeting, I believe, just went to pit road. So I feel like we're pretty much in that window now. I feel like we're going to see a lot of guys coming down to pit lane here, take tires here soon.
So looking like it's going to be a 2-stop race, Jeff. This really throws a wrench in things. A lot of these drivers would probably prefer this track to be a 1-stop race, but that is not an option here tonight. Coming in before lap 40 is Dakota Floyd at the bottom of your screen there. He's going to bring it down now. Noah Mahalski still electing to stay out front and turn some laps. He does have a 4-second gap back to 2nd place, so he's got some breathing room. But a lot of these drivers already on fresh tires, more than 75% of the field have already come down pit road at some point.
Yeah, and I think Noah as well as Brian, John Sanu, Austin Belke, I think those guys might be on the strategy where they're just going to try to go as long as possible here, however long that fuel is going to last. And almost an incident there as we had, I believe that was, John Sanu coming to pit lane, maybe some miscommunication, but clearly they didn't know he was pitting. That could have been bad. That definitely could have brought out a yellow.
Very well could have, but we have assumed a new race leader at the moment. That is Brian Chambliss in the 9. But he has a slurry of cars behind him in the 19 into the side of the 79. Both of them spinning to the infield. That does bring out our first caution of the night.
Yeah, and I think that's just a product of the different tire strategy speeds at the moment. Obviously, there was some guys up here that had not pit yet. Some of these guys were coming out of pit lane, and obviously we're going to be way faster. I'm not sure if there was just some misjudgment on that, or if some guys just, trying to get through traffic a little bit too quick. But either way, the 19, I'm not sure where it happened. I believe maybe here on the straightaway.
Let's take this a little bit further back and watch this develop. So coming down the front stretch at the moment, we've got a little bit of time here. So the way I see this is coming into turn 3, I think the 19 got into the wall. There's a little bit of an incident there with the 86 just behind him. But that was not what the caution was for. The 19, Michael Muncie. Not sure what that jump was, but the 19 into the wall comes back down on the track. The 54 gets out of the way, but the 79, just not enough room. We'll see coming through 1 and 2 here. Once he'll get back to the outside of the 79, gets sideways. The 79, just following his natural racing line, comes up into the left rear quarter panel and sends them both to that infield, bringing out the caution. Luckily, no damage on either one of those vehicles, though.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely went for a spin, but like you said, not a whole lot of damage there. It looked like the 19, though, he was struggling loose on those cold tires, looked like a little bit. You saw him kind of get loose, overcorrect it, chase it up, hit the wall of it. I don't know if the 79 there, Jordan Trask, came up or not, but, I mean, either way, they definitely got together, and that's what caused the spin, but it just looked like maybe a product of the cold tires, trying to get as much as you can, and the truck was stepping out a little bit on those guys.
To me, Jeff, it looked like the 79 came up just a touch, but not really. It wasn't a malicious way by any means at all. It was just following that natural racing line, maybe not knowing just how side by side he was with the 19. So just an unfortunate timed event there, as we have multiple cars that were a lap down. They obviously all got a wave around, but that was best case scenario. I believe it was our top 5 had not yet taken tires. But right now, at the back of the field, Philip Brewer, he is technically our race leader. Every car you see in front of him, all technically a lap down, but will give a wave around in the coming laps.
Yeah, Philip Brewer, he had just recently went down pit lane before that caution fell, so he will be able to stay out here. He's going to get the lead, like you just said, but I think he's going to be at a slight tire disadvantage to guys like Noah Mahalski, Brian Chambliss, Austin Belke, because they all got to pit here under this caution. So I don't know how many laps that was exactly, but I mean, even 2 or 3 laps here at Homestead Miami Speedway, that's enough to, be quite a bit. So we'll see how well this 44 truck takes off here on the restart, but definitely not ideal. So he will get the race lead out of this, but it's just, we're gonna have to see, how much of a tire disadvantage is he gonna be on because of the way the caution fell.
Driver up here in the top 5 after this wave around with the best tire advantage is going to be the 54 of Morgan Cook. He just put fresh tires on that truck, so he will be in the best seat in the house for this restart. We're going to see these drivers start to take off here, get around this pace car at any moment. I believe they have already, actually.
Yeah, I think
he's going to start on that inside line with the freshest tires, so I would expect to see him up towards the front battling with Philip Brewer at any given moment.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think we're going to get a show here, and with the way the caution fell, I mean, we still cannot make it to the end here. I think we're going to be able to go a 1-stop from here, so you'll either split this one or split this run in half, or maybe you try to run the fuel tank out as long as possible, in case we do catch a caution again, or just to have that tire advantage at the end of the run. But either way, I mean, this makes things interesting now, Logan. I feel like now these guys, they're going to be fighting hard for the track position. I think these guys are going to be getting up on the wheel here. I think we're going to see a show here as we go back green.
I think you are absolutely right about that. Race control adding one more pace lap to allow those wave around cars to catch back up to the field. We'll go one more time around. Driver to make note of here, the 56, Benjamin Richards, up 8 positions from his starting spot. Not too bad of a day for him whatsoever. Can't be unhappy with that by any means. Little look at the onboard here, the back end of the 13 right in front of him. And Jeff, Benjamin Richards here, the only driver tonight with a driver cam. Let's pull him up on the screen. Let him have his 15 seconds of glory here as we're still under pacing.
Yeah, Benjamin Richards obviously doing a great job so far, moving his way up through the field. So staying out of trouble too. Got to keep the truck clean here at a track like Homestead Miami. It's very fast, very aerodynamic. Obviously we see a couple trucks have already got tangled up. One of those being right in front of him right there, Caleb Weekly. So I believe Caleb, I think he's still going to be at least 1 lap down. I think he was able to take the wave around and maybe get one of those back. I'm trying to look on the timing and scoring here, see if I can find where he's at. Yeah, so he did get one of his laps back, so he is kind of back in this in a way. He just needs to catch another caution. He'll be right back in it.
Yeah, another caution for Weekly would put him in a good position to start making a run back up towards the front, but pace car is off. They are in that Geico restart zone, and the 44 is away. We're back green here at Homestead. Immediately up to the top line too.
Look at all those wave around cars. Everybody's single file from like the 3rd row on back. So definitely an interesting looking start here, but here comes Brian Chambliss on the bottom here. He's going to clear Noah Mahalski. Now he's going to set his sights on that race leader, Philip Brewer, as he kind of snakes it down the back straightaway.
Just a whole gaggle of race trucks here towards the middle of this pack back here around the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th position. All battling it out for a top 10. Rob Hamp still sticking very well on that high line. He is liking that groove up there next to the wall. Chris Rude right in front of him. He has scored 20th on the board, but he is in the mix of it. 1 lap down for the 32 truck. Another caution will do him some good as well. But from the driving so far, Jeff, I don't know if we're going to see another caution anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, just with the way that restart happened with all those wave round cars, instead of, starting double file, 10 plus rows on back, we only started with 3 rows side by side. So that's naturally just going to spread the field out on its own. As we see Noah Mahalski dive down to the bottom here for the race lead, see if he can complete a pass. But you're right, this race is going to be pretty spread out right now. So we might not get another caution, and these guys might not ever get a chance to make up that lap they lost.
Mahalski and Brewer just battling it out here. Brewer sticking to that top line. Mahalski likes the low line. But again, that high line here at Homestead, it carries so much speed. As you see the 03, he'll get the advantage coming through the corners. But on the corner exit, it is all about the 44. As he is into the wall, that's going to slow him down, giving the 03 of Mahalski the opportunity. He gets the slide job complete. And we have the 03 claiming a lap lead. Here's the 44 right all over the bumper. The 03 dodging that narrowly. Mahalski, that rear view mirror was filled up with that Zen truck right behind him.
Yeah, Philip Brewer, he's not going to just, lay down here and let him run away with it. He's going to do everything he can to try to get this lead back as he sends it in deep here on the bottom. He's going to maybe try to slide up in front of the 03 of Mahalski, and I think he's maybe going to make it work.
He absolutely does, but the 03 has the speed out of the corner, just not enough, but he's going to have that inside line that he has liked so much. He makes it stick as the 44 still with the high line. The 03 is going to have the advantage out of corner number 2. That draft that the 44 is picking up with the momentum out of the corners, it means a lot. As the 03 sticks with the high line as well, not allowing the 44 to get as much of an advantage as he's had. And Mahalski finally able to put a little bit of distance between himself and second place.
And these guys are not holding back right now at all. These guys are pushing hard. You can see how hard Philip Brewer is driving in on the top here, trying to rip it around against the wall to try to get the run on Noah Mahalski. But look who's sitting there in third, just kind of taking care of his stuff, not pushing things too hard. That's Brian Chambliss. These guys ahead of him were going at it pretty hard there for a few laps. Brian's just been here saving. So this race goes long. You got, like I said, I keep saying, you got to watch out for that 9 truck. I mean, he's not doing anything flashy or fancy right now. But, I mean, he's just logging laps, taking care of his tires, making sure he has something to race with at the end. And at the moment, I think he's doing the best of that. Noah Mahalski's obviously had to fight very hard for that lead, get that clean air. But now you got to back it down a little bit, probably try to save your stuff, I think, because 15, 20 laps, I think this 9 truck is going to be somebody that Noah has to worry about.
And another driver to make mention of, Chuck Sweeting. He is the fastest truck on the track with a 32.897. Obviously, that's on some fresh tires, but that is a quick lap there compared to a lot of this field. Most of them not even touching the 32-second range. About 4 other drivers have gotten down to a 32.9. Sweeting just able to put down an absolute heater of a lap. We'll see if he can carry any of that momentum into the long run, and we might see him up here in the top 3 finish.
And how about Bryce Shoemaker in the 43? He's driven his way up to 8th, so he is now inside the top 10. He started way back in 16th, starting to make up some ground. He's racing a teammate right there in Rob Ham. He's ripping it around the top, but he's not quite as close to the wall as he's seen some of these other guys, which is probably a good thing. I mean, I approach Homestead Miami Speedway the same way. I mean, if I'm going to run the wall, I don't want to be, although it can pay dividends and you can, make up a lot of time up there, but I'm always just so, weary of the fact that I could get in that fence at any time, maybe get some damage. So he's ripping that top, but he's not right on that wall. Trying to take care of that truck, but doing a good job so far up here in 8th. And our championship points leader in the 57 just ahead right there. Doing everything he needs to do so far to try and clinch this championship.
It's all going to come down to consistency for Dakota Floyd in that 57. But one thing to make mention of, Radford up there in the points as well in that 97 machine, sitting in 12th at the moment, 5 spots back from Floyd. But he is up 11 positions from where he started, so he is no slouch back there, able to work his way up through most of this field. Mahalski falling back just a tad from Brewer. But he's going to get that low line working once more. They'll be door to door on the exit. But Brewer, again, just too much speed with that top line for Mahalski to get around him. It's just been an all-out, back-and-forth brawl, blow for blow between these two.
And this is why we love watching races at Homestead, Miami. It just produces such great racing. It's multi-lane. You can really see the drivers out here just wheel it. These cars are on edge. Philip Brewer elects to run the top again here, drives it in really deep, really close to that wall. No Mahalski there towards the bottom of the racetrack, but look who's right there in P3 there, Logan. I told you he was going to be here in a few laps. He's just sitting back, taking care of his stuff. Brian Chambliss has copped these leaders, and I think we're just going to be a few laps away from seeing this 9 truck in the race lead and probably starting to make a gap on these guys. It's very obvious that he has saved his tires really well. And although Philip Brewer was able to get the lead back there, I just don't know if he's going to be able to hold off this 9 truck.
Yeah, that Bucky's 9 Chevrolet, he's looking very fast. It was a very easy-looking pass on Noah Mahalski. This Brewer snaking his way back down the back stretch. As the 9 takes that inside line. He's got some speed there on the bottom line through 3 and 4 that we haven't seen from any other driver.
Yeah, and it's a patience thing, right? We've said it before that to be able to run that bottom line lap after lap, it takes patience. You know, it's kind of a boring thing to do, right? To be able to, stick your truck on the bottom of the racetrack and, just commit to that and run a long run on the bottom. It's fun to get on the top, and wheel it and get the most out of your truck, but sometimes at an abrasive racetrack like Homestead, this is where races are won. And so far, I mean, just look how smooth that 9 truck is right now on the bottom. Its back end's not stepping out. It's just smooth driving right now. Obviously, Philip Brewer is up on the wheel. He is wheeling this thing, but it just looks like Brian's truck is just handling so much better. I think it's just a matter of time until we see him out front here.
Take a look at how Brewer is handling this truck on the exit of these corners. I'm curious to see, as we see him coming off the wall quite a bit, about a full lane off the wall in the exit. I couldn't tell if he was trying to break the draft for the number 9 truck, but Brewer into the wall just a little bit there. That's going to allow Brian Chambliss to make that pass and do it easily. No contest at all from the 44 after that contact with the wall. Brian Chambliss assumes the race lead.
Yeah, he is in the driver's spot for sure now. So he is obviously taking care of his tires, probably the best of anybody so far. But this 44 is not going to lay down. Just like, when Noah Mahalski got around him, we saw Noah take the lead for a few laps, but then it was only 5 laps later, we saw the 44 take the lead again. So there's going to be no give up in him whatsoever. But now if you're Brian Chambliss, now I think you can afford to run a little bit faster. So you've obviously proven that you've been able to save, the tires, probably the best so far in this run. Now just don't give these guys an opportunity to get back in front of you and get you dirty air. You got the clean air, you got the track position. We're going to have at least one more pit stop, and that's really going to be where this race is going to be decided. And if I know anything about Brian Chambliss, he's very good with race strategy, pit strategy, getting on and off pit lane. I just feel like the way it stands right now, Logan, it's going to be really hard for anybody to beat this 9 truck.
Yeah, it's not looking like it's going to be easy whatsoever, but in the meantime, there's another battle I want to take a look at here. That's the 63 of Koss, the 19 of Muncie, and the 76 of Joe Spinelli. They've been under a blanket for the last 4 laps. All 3 of these drivers switching positions. Max Koss able to get ahead of the other 2 for the moment, claiming the 12th position on the track. A little bit of distance between him and the 79 of Jordan Trask. But Max Koss currently up 10 positions.
Max is wheeling it out there too. You can see the truck kind of stepping out. He's driving it off the right rear. Spinelli's going to keep the position here, but Koss gets right to the back of him, almost bump drafting down the front straightaway there. But yeah, just really good racing all throughout. I mean, you can look up and down the scoring here, and there's trucks that are battling each other, all the way from the front all the way to the very tail end. And some of these guys, that are still a lap down, you know, they're not getting a chance to even kind of show what they got. They got trapped with that pit cycle, and they never got that caution that they needed to kind of get rebounded here.
Trying to find something else to take a look at. Here's the 19 of Muncie, brings it down pit road. I believe that's
Jeremy
the
Reed.
94 of Jeremy Reed. I apologize, Jeremy. I've been calling you Jeremiah the whole time, I believe. But those two drivers electing to bring it down pit road early.
And I like that pit call, especially, I mean, if you're not running top 10 right now, you might as well come down pit lane, try to short pit, try to get an advantage on these guys. It's not going to pay off in the long run, but I mean, if we get cautions, you know, through the middle to the late stages, it could work. But if I'm the race leader right now, I feel like I'm probably going to wait, you know, as long as I can at this point. I just wouldn't want a caution to kind of, you know, ruin my my pit strategy at this point. But I mean, if you're outside the top 10 looking in, you might as well try to get aggressive with the strategy. And looks like that's what Jeremy Reed and some other drivers are doing.
And as you mentioned there, Brian Chambliss still in the lead. He's got just over a 1 second gap to second place. So with the way he's able to drive this 9 truck around Homestead, it doesn't make much sense for him to bring it down. He's obviously able to handle it. We might see him stretch this out until about lap 75 or 80. And then we might see him bring it down pit road around then, unless he's got a little bit of extra fuel. Currently on a 26 lap stint for the top, actually really the top 10, all anywhere from 26 laps to about 32 since that last pit cycle.
Yeah, I think Brian is probably mostly going to base his strategy off what do these guys behind him do? You know, what does Noah Michalski do? What does Philip Brewer do? I feel like those guys right now are at least the ones that are closest to him, you know, in the timing and scoring. So that's who he's going to be probably looking at. You know, I think if Noah or Philip, if they come down pit lane and Brian sees that, if I'm Brian, I'm probably going to go maybe 2 or 3 laps longer just because of, you know, then I'll have that tire advantage. I mean, we already saw Brian be so good on the long run to be able to make the pass for the race lead here. And that was on, you know, similar or same tires, you know, so if he is able to go a lap or 2 longer and then have those fresher tires for the end of the run, I don't think anybody's going to beat him to the race to the finish. Only way I think something could happen is if we get some differing strategy or caution falling and something like that happens. But right now, I mean, Brian Chambliss in the driver's seat, probably just trying to see what are the guys around him going to do, and then he'll make his decision what he wants to do after he sees what they're doing.
That makes the absolute most sense in this scenario for the number 9 truck. But again, right behind him, these two drivers, Noah Michalski, Philip Brewer, still battling it out. Cannot seem to get any sort of separation, but that is what Brian Chambliss wants to see as he is continuing to put down just fires of lap times. You know, I don't know how else to say it. He is just so much quicker at the moment. Almost a 2 second gap as the 44, little loose on the apron coming down pit road. I believe that is the 57, or sorry, the 54 of Morgan Cook following in behind him. That'll put these drivers about 28 laps at the end of this race on these tires. We definitely know that they have the fuel load to make it to the end from this pit stop.
Yeah, now it's going to be interesting to see what does Brian Chambliss do. Does he bring it down pit lane immediately, or is he going to run a few more laps? I think, like I said, if I'm him here, I'm going to run a few more laps and make sure I got that tire advantage on these guys. He already had a good, you know, 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds lead on these guys, so he can afford to go, you know, 2-3 laps longer. He'll most likely at this point, if he were to do that, he's probably going to come out of the pits pretty even with Brewer, pretty even with Michalski, but he's going to have the fresher tires, so, you know, it's going to be smooth sailing. He'll be able to get around them fairly quickly. How about that 24 truck right now? Austin Belke, he was running fourth before this pit cycle started, but he is smooth sailing too, and I think he's getting ready to come down to pit lane here maybe in a couple laps, but he's up from 14th.
Chambliss brings it down to pit road finally, so like you said, we'll have to keep an eye on that, see where he cycles out with the 44. It'll be a very close one. But Austin Belkey assumes the race lead as Chambliss comes down pit road.
And look at the tire difference here. Austin Belkey on the older tires, Philip Brewer on the fresh tires. Just watch how much ground Brewer's going to be able to make up here on this high side. He's just going to sail on right past him. That's how much tires mean at this racetrack. And obviously now Austin's coming to pit lane too. But I like the strategy the 24 and the 9 are on right now. I think those could be race-winning strategies.
That's going to give the lead over to Chuck Sweeting in the 75. That'll be the first time he's been up here in the number 1 spot tonight. But still has yet to come down pit road on the oldest tires in the field.
We're going to have a handful of guys that are going to try to stretch this out as long as possible, because then you put yourself in a spot where if that caution does fall, you're still out on the racetrack. I mean, we saw it once, time again, you know, but the only problem is I feel like the fuel tanks just aren't large enough at the moment. I feel like these guys only got a handful of laps they can go further, as that's probably going to complete the whole fuel strategy. I think Chuck was the last guy to pit in. So Philip Brewer is going to overtake the race lead. You're going to see Brian Chambliss there towards the top left of your screen. He's, what, 2-3 laps, I think we said, fresher tires. So it's not going to be easy, but, I mean, I would rather be in Brian's situation here with the fresher tires, running down the race leader, being on the offensive. He's got plenty of laps to reach him, but it's one thing to catch him, Logan. It's another thing to pass him.
It absolutely is, but another driver to keep in mind right behind Chambliss, Morgan Cook. He has made his way up 10 positions into the top 3. So he is going to be following that number 9 truck up to the back bumper of the 44. It'll be a battle to the end if this race stays green. It really all boils down to where Dakota Floyd finishes, where Matthew Radford finishes, and where we see the 79 of Jordan Trask. Those 3 drivers right now are our top 3 in the points. Trask right now in the best position of all of them, currently sitting in 5th. He's back quite a ways from the leader, but it's not about winning tonight's race. It's about beating the 2 other drivers in the top 3 of the points and just how much you can beat them by.
Yeah, and also, you know, just staying out of trouble too. You know, it's very possible some of these other drivers in the hunt for the championship could have something, you know, go wrong, whether that be getting involved in some sort of incident, getting a penalty assessed to them by, you know, causing a caution, especially as we approach this, you know, last 15% of the race mark coming up here soon. You know, those could be significant in terms of the championship battles. So not only do you got to run a good race, but you got to run a clean race. Make sure you don't get any penalties, because you would hate to see a championship decided on penalties, but, you know, it definitely could happen. But so far, Jordan Trask, very good rebound from earlier. He's up to 5th. We saw him kind of drop towards, you know, the back end of the top 10, maybe outside briefly in the early goings. He started to get back on track here. He's running a good race. John Senior, you see him right now in the top 10, as well as Bryce Shoemaker. How about that? 6th place. He's continuing the charge up through the field here.
John Sanu and Chuck Sweeting battling it out here. Sweeting on that high line, Sanu on the low line. They just switched positions just a few seconds ago. Sweeting seemingly driving away from the 86. Only 2 laps difference on the tires between those trucks. But man, it looks like it's a lot more than that. Up ahead of him, Bryce Shoemaker, as you mentioned, up here in the top 10, all over the back bumper, the 79 down the back stretch. He's got the high line. He'll have momentum. But Trask should have the room to make that slide work, and he does as he stays in front of the 43. The 43 looking low on the 79. He'll get side by side with him through the corner.
Yeah, just about dead even there on exit. I think Jordan's going to have a little bit of a run off the high side down the back straightaway. Bryce trying to get to that quarter panel, side draft him, pull it back a little bit. He's going to dive it back down to the bottom here as he's straddling that bottom seam. That's my favorite part of the racetrack here to run at Homestead. I just feel like you can make a lot of time there. You can save tires while doing it and still be fast. But a big slide there for Shoemaker off corner exit.
He almost had the 43 clear. That slide job there out of turn number 2 just did not work. turns 3 and 4 here. Shoemaker not able to make up that ground once more, but Dakota Floyd is taking full advantage of this situation with the 24 of Austin Belke in tow. They've caught up to both these drivers now. Floyd deciding to take the high line, Belke on the low line behind the 43. As Bryce Shoemaker slots in behind the 79. A little bit of a block on the 57, but it's not going to mean anything as Dakota Floyd gets to the low line. He should be able to overtake Shoemaker's. He is rather slow through that top line. Floyd up in front of the 43 now. Back down low, looking to take away the position from the 79 of Trask.
Yeah, really good battle here, but man, we got a battle now for the lead as well. Philip Brewer, Brian Chambliss battling it out for that top spot. As I've just watched the lap times, he has really cut into this lead as of late. Just over the last 2 or 3 laps, I mean, he has been reeling him in big time. I feel like it's only going to be probably another lap or 2, and Chambliss is going to be there. But you don't want to rush things. I mean, you got laps to work with here, so there's no reason to try to push it too much and ruin your stuff. You know, as long as we don't get a caution here, I feel like it's, you know, definitely going to be a winnable race here for this 9 truck. But man, that 44 is a wheel man. We see him just ripping around pretty much all parts of the racetrack. He's been on the bottom, he's been in the middle. We saw him basically, you know, Kyle Larsoning the outside wall there. It's not going to be an easy pass to make here, but I think this is going to get pretty good. This is going to have a great finish here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
One thing I see here with the 44 of Brewer, he's not allowing that steering to open up as much as the 9 does on the corner exit. You see him come up to the wall, immediately back down that half lane distance. That is slowing the truck down just enough to allow Chambliss to catch up. As you see Chambliss right now, he is running about 1.5 tenths faster than Philip Brewer lap by lap. So that gap closing slowly but steadily.
Yeah, there's no question he's going to get there. It's just a matter of once he does get on the back bumper, I mean, maybe he is already there. We may as well just call him. He's there right now. But once he gets there, Philip's not going to make this easy on him. He's going to pull out every single trick in the book here to try to keep that 9 truck behind him. We only got, what, 15 laps to go or less, so it's going to get good here. We're going to see these drivers lay it all out there.
The 44 slides up the racetrack in front of the 9. The 9 slow through that top line, seemingly trying to save some tires, maybe save a little bit of fuel, maybe just laying in wait for the opportunity to overtake the 44 a little bit later in this race. Not giving him as much time to battle back for the position and force the 9 truck to use up his tires. But Chambliss, like you said, now up to the back bumper of Philip Brewer.
Yeah, we just saw Chris Rear. He's going to yield to the leaders here, so he's going to be respectful and get out of the way, let these guys battle it out here. But Brian Chambliss is all over the back bumper now here, Philip Brewer, as he's going to try to sneak it to the inside here on the bottom of the racetrack. He can get really tight here down on the bottom, see if Brian Chambliss can hold it. Looks like Brewer's going to be able to pull him on exit.
It's crazy to think that just a few feet of distance between those trucks, you know, versus a higher low line and a lower low line can cause such a difference of speed on the exit. But again, I have a feeling the 9 is just laying in wait, setting up the 44 for, I would say we'll see him really start to go for the pass in the last 5 laps.
Yeah, I mean, and right here as well, I mean, with him being this close, I want to try to complete that pass as fast as possible, just with the risk of the caution coming out at any time. I mean, you want the lead to be able to have that advantage, you know, if it does fly, to get to your pit stall first. But here he goes back again to the bottom here. Is he going to be able to clear him this time? I think Brewer's going to have another good run, maybe try the crossover. But now Brian's got the advantage. He's got the outside. He's going to have to stay tight on Brewer here, though. Brewer's going to send it in deep, I bet you, here, and try to maybe pull a slider.
You're absolutely right about that. As you can see, the back end of the 44 kicking out. But he does get up ahead of the 9 at Chambliss. As we are three wide with a lap car of the 32.
How about that? I mean, Chris Rude right there, he's obviously got the fresher tires, so I mean, he needs to go. He just needs to pass these guys. I think he let them by a little bit earlier while they're battling, just kind of as a courtesy. But I mean, Chris has got fresher tires here, so he can definitely go around these guys and probably pull away. But now a little bit of dirty air on the front nose there of Philip Brewer with Chris Rude in front of him. But Brian Chambliss has kind of the preferred groove now as far as the battling groove. Anytime you're battling with somebody here at Homestead, Miami, usually the guy on the outside is the guy that's got that advantage. And right now it's that 9 truck. He's got the race lead with less than 10 to go.
Noted here in the comments section of the broadcast, Brewer, great to race against. That is absolutely correct. I have never had a single issue through this series with the 44 driver. I know early on I was running a very similar paint scheme to him and got confused to being teammates in that opening race as we were working together very, very well. So it's nice to see him up here in the front running for this race. Unfortunately not in the front running for points, as Dakota Floyd still back here in 6th position, but ahead of all the other drivers that he's contending with. This is looking very, very solid for the 57 of Floyd.
Yeah, he came in here. He knew what he had to do. Didn't have to do anything too crazy or, out of the ordinary. He just had to come here, run a clean race, get a solid finish, and he knew he's going to walk out of here a champion. We still got a handful of laps to go, but things are looking pretty good here for Dakota Floyd in the 57. But man, Brian Chambliss, he's not this isn't over yet. Philip Brewer's not going away. I know Brian's got the tire advantage right now and got the preferred line on him in the corners, but if there's anything we know about this 44, he's not going to give up. And he's definitely a wheel man, that's for sure. We saw it earlier when he was running the fence.
Absolutely, and he is just continuing to force the 9 to do everything he can to keep that 44 behind him. Like you said, very well respected in the league. So Philip Brewer, fantastic showing all season and a fantastic showing here at Homestead.
And like you mentioned before, I forgot, just at Daytona, 10 weeks ago or more when we started this thing, you were in that same paint scheme, and I thought you guys were teammates. You guys certainly, drafted together like teammates, and you guys were doing an awesome job at Daytona. It's fun to watch you guys. It's fun to be up here in the booth with you as well, Logan. Man, it's been a blast all season long, and super fortunate for the opportunity to call a race with you and Bradley and Eddie Smith and Adam Baker. It's been great to work with a lot of professionals here at V-Speed.
Glad to have you up here, Jeff. A full season with you in the co-commentator spot. It's been a blast all season, watching back the broadcast, how you communicate about the race. But we're down to the last 5 of the season, assuming there's no green-white checkers being used tonight. This is the deciding factor of the championship here tonight.
Yeah, and both these drivers, they want to put their names on that first-time winner list in the Challenger Series. I guess Brian Chambliss, he won a race earlier this season, so he already does have a win to his name. But Philip Brewer, he's been close. He hasn't gotten one yet. And but he's showing why he's a guy that you have to look out for every single race. And I'm sure we'll be talking about him in the Cup Series at Atlanta later tonight as well, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. Similar track in the sense that it wears out tires and it really puts the car into the driver's hands. So Philip Brewer, he's going to try to get it done here, and he definitely could. But if he can't get it done here, I'm sure he's going to have a good shot at Atlanta.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff, but tonight's Cup race at Atlanta is set up for the old Atlanta racing surface.
Oh, yeah, the best Atlanta racing service, and that, as well as me, that's the fun version of Atlanta. That's the one that, is a driver's racetrack, and it's wore out, it's bumpy. It's just a ton of fun. So super excited to get out there, but even more excited to watch the finish of this race.
Absolutely, as we are now 3 to go coming down the backstretch. Brian Chambliss trying to break the draft of the 44. The 44 sees it coming. He's on the outside line, a spot we haven't seen Brewer at too terribly often. He's going to get door-to-door with the 9 with the momentum out of 4. Philip Brewer reassumes the lead here with 2 to go at Homestead.
Wow, what a move. I cannot believe he made that work with the tire disadvantage he's on. sent it in on the outside, takes the lead with 2 to go, but he's sideways here at the center of turn 2. Brian Chambliss back to the race lead.
Brewer still all over the bumper, still able to carry very good momentum out of that corner, back to the low line. He's at the door, he's got the bumper. He's gonna keep Chambliss high. Chambliss a little bit more momentum out of the corner exit. Brewer slots right back in behind him.
Hey, what a battle we're having here for the race lead. White flag this time. See if Brewer can get back around him. It's gonna be tough.
Little contact with the wall there for the 44. It's going to slow him up just a touch, but it might give him the draft momentum to get around the 9 coming through 3 and 4. We'll see them both taking the high line, and he's in the back bumper of the 9.
Oh, man, I think he's going to hang on, though.
Chambliss able to hold on to it, keeps the momentum. The 44 does not have enough as Brian Chambliss takes home race number 10. The final race of the season goes to the 7th starting position, the number 9 Bucky's Chevrolet.
Wow, what a finish, Logan. I don't think it could have been any better than that. And what an impressive battle from both of these guys. There's a little bit of contact there on the final lap, but hey, you're going to have that. That's racing. Both of the drivers are able to, get back around to the finish line, but man, I thought Philip Brewer had that for a second when he made that power move to the outside, but Brian Chambliss stayed cool, calm, and collective, got back around him, and he is your race winner here at the Homestead Miami Speedway.
He is going to absolutely burn this down as you see Dakota Floyd. Dakota Floyd finishing in the 6th position by my math in the finishing order of the other top contenders for the championship. I believe that is our championship winner here tonight.
Yeah, Dakota Floyd's going to clinch it pretty easily. So we're going to see the dual burnouts just like we used to see, back in the day when this was the championship racetrack. And, Logan, I might have to say, I think this should still be the championship racetrack. It's just such a great place to watch a race. And, we might be able to see that in the future. There's talks of Homestead maybe coming back to be the season finale, but man, couldn't have asked for a better race here tonight in the SNR Challenger Series. This was definitely the best race of the season, best finish of the season for sure. But man, how about that finish? We're going to be watching that back probably a handful of times. Brian Chambliss and Philip Brewer going at it for the race win here at Homestead, leaning on each other a little bit, but having enough respect to make sure both guys get back to the finish line. That's just really good, hard racing there. And man, just so fun to be up here in the booth with you to call that, Logan.
Absolutely. And Jeff, I don't know about you. My voice could use a little bit of a break, so I think we need to hear a quick word from our sponsors, and then we will follow up right after that with final results and interviews with our podium finishers, and we might as well get one in with our points championship winner, Dakota Floyd. We will be right back live here on V-Speed from Homestead.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Mako Tool Supra.
Comes back, he's gonna send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're gonna Joshua Banks is gonna win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time and they know it.
The bottom surges to the inside, now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
Back here live from Homestead. Man, Jeff, what an absolute race all night long. Constant battling up there for the top positioning. Noah Mahalski, Philip Brewer, Brian Chambliss putting on an absolute clinic up here at the top of the field. But let's get right into it with our final results for the night. Brian Chambliss taking home the win here in race number 10. Started out there in 7th, made his way up through the field late in the race. Just a fantastic outing with the 9 and the 44 of Philip Brewer finishing out in 2nd. Noah Mahalski up in the front pretty well all race, fell back to 3rd, but stays on the podium position to finish this one out. The 54 of Morgan Cook will take home 4th position. Right behind him in 5th will be Chuck Sweeting in the 75. Our points champion winner, the 57, Dakota Floyd, takes home the 6th position here tonight. Behind him, Austin Belkey in the 24 takes home 7th. John Sanu in the 86 will take home 8th. Jordan Trask finishes out in 9th position in that 79 truck. And right behind him, the 43 of Bryce Shoemaker will make up your top 10.
In the 11th position, it's going to be Joe Spinelli. Kind of had an up and down day, was really fast in practice. Qualified 11th, but fell back down to the field. Early goings, good rebound for him to get back to 11th. Rob Hamp, he will finish in the 12th position after starting in 6th. Max Cost, up from 22nd tonight. He'll get 13th. Matthew Radford, runner-up in the championship standings. He gets 14th tonight. Not the run that he wanted tonight, or not the run that he needed to win the championship, but a fantastic season by him, very consistent. Brings it home 14th. Benjamin Richards in the 15th position. Jeremy Reed gets 16th. Mike Muncy will finish in the 17th spot. Matt Dominic, he will get 18th. Chris Rude gets 19th, and Caleb Weekly will rebound to 20th.
To round out the back half of this field, Brandon Wallace in that 99 truck will take home the 21st position, followed up by Matt Shinosky in the 81 taking home 22nd. Keith Shoemaker in the 88 will be in 23rd to finish this one out, followed by Jace Coley in the 65. Nathan Ferrada, unfortunate circumstances for him early in the race, drops out, finishing 25th tonight. Brian Hennings in the 74 will be in 26th, and unfortunately not making the field, the 2 truck of Michael Jones. He does take the 27th position. Jeff, what do you say we get right into these interviews here with our top 3? We'll start out with our 3rd place finisher. That'll be Noah Mahalski. See if we can get him up here in the booth. There he is, Noah Mahalski. Logan and Jeff up here in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Well, buddy, not the race you're looking for, obviously, but you're still up here on the podium. You started out in 2nd place. You led 21 laps tonight. You're a constant front runner up here with these drivers. And it's just kind of run me through it, man. The last lap or last race of the season. Let's just hear your thoughts about it and kind of the season overall.
Well, this definitely hasn't been the season we wanted. Definitely a lot of bad luck. Wish we could have run every race like we did tonight. I mean, I'll take a top 3. Bummed, honestly, that couldn't pull off the win there. Before that last pit cycle there, I tagged the wall and let Brian by, and then I don't know. I guess I was just slow on my stock because they both came out in front of me. They were like 3 seconds ahead, and I was just playing catch up the whole time, hoping they'd get side by side and slow each other down, which we ran him down a little bit, but even if we got to him, I don't think we would have had anything for him just because I was burning my stuff up trying to get up to him. But I mean, it's been a good season. I guess it's been fun racing with these guys. This last race was really clean. I'm glad we got a green flag cycle in there, and I don't know, maybe I had a little bit of karma for earlier this week in BTDY for pushing my teammate to the win. Maybe that kind of cured the bad luck. Fingers crossed. I think coming in tonight, my average start was like 5th, and then my average finish was like 28th, just because I've had power go out. I've gotten wrecked by guys. I've had a caution come out when I was like 5 feet away from the entry line to pit road, and got a black flag. Had to start at the back. So yeah, just season of bad luck. Hopefully it'll be better from here on out.
Fingers crossed as we do follow up with the Cup Series race here in just about 30 minutes. But Noah, and again, you had a great race tonight, a season full of bad luck. You can't be too unhappy with tonight's performance. But before you depart with us, anybody you'd like to say thanks to?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out you guys in the booth. You guys do a great job putting on these races every week and broadcasting. I hope we put on a good show for you. Like to thank AutoZone for sponsoring the truck, 29 Graphics, J Distributors, Walking and Rolling Costumes, Clark Print Shop, all those guys for sponsoring the league and helping us do this every night. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And again, fantastic finish here tonight. 3rd place for you, Noah. We will see you in the next race at Atlanta in the Cup cars.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Move right on down to our 2nd place finisher. I believe, Jeff, you've caught up with Philip Brewer in the 44 car.
Yep, I'm down here with Philip Brewer after, just such an exciting finish. That was a lot of fun to watch up here. Philip, I know from your standpoint, you wanted to win that race and came ever so close to doing so. Walk us through those closing laps. What more did you need there at the end to get the edge there on Brian Chambliss and maybe come out of here race winner?
Well, I think when he got underneath of me, I tried to come down to keep him from sliding up, and that did not work. I got way loose, and I think if I would have stayed on the top, I could have had momentum. But that last corner, I needed to not run into him because that was not my intention. So I kind of just didn't want to pass him after that. But it was pretty damn fun. I thought he was just going to stay on the bottom and run away from me like he did the first run.
We saw an interesting, strategy kind of play out. I mean, we saw you and Noah, you guys kind of elected to short pit Brian as Brian kind of was able to get around you guys after you and Noah were really battling hard. You guys probably used up your stuff a little bit. I saw you guys kind of got in the fence a little bit. You come down pit lane, 3 laps or so before Brian. Brian catches you pretty quick, but, you were able to really hold him off, and he really had to earn that one. Same thing with Noah. I mean, Noah got around you for a little bit, and we thought Noah was going to run around with it. Next thing we know, you're back in the race lead. I mean, how was it out there, for you to be able to bounce back every time you got past him? A lot of times, when you get, passed by, somebody, especially in a long run, they tend to run away with it. But it seemed like with you tonight, if you got passed, you weren't going away. You're actually going to pass them back a few times. And we saw that when you got to Brian Chambliss's outside there, which was just an incredible move. And it's super exciting to watch up here.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like a squirrel chasing a nut. Once I had him in front of me, then I had a target to go for, and I could really lock in and push it to the limit. Because when I was running the best, I could enter high, stay high, leave high, and I could get great runs. But when I was out front, I kind of felt like I was in La La Land.
Well, Philip, it's been a great season for you for sure. There's no doubt about that. 3 top 5s, 5 top 10s. Came close to a couple of wins. I know you really wanted one, and we looked back, at a race like Chicagoland, you got 3rd there. But still, it's got to feel good, right, to have such a great season like that, despite I know you probably really wanted to win this season.
Yeah, I want to win. I mean, it sucks. I've kind of shot myself in the foot more than once. I think next year I just need to come back with a consistency mindset, stop driving so hard. I think I could compete for a championship.
Absolutely. I think there's no doubt about that. Very fast all season long, always in the runnings for the race wins. But before we let you go tonight, Philip Brewers, or anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
I want to shout out V-Speed for putting everything on. I always love broadcasts, like watching them when the races are done. And thanks to SNR for putting these leagues on. It's been really competitive and really fun.
Well, we appreciate the kind words, Philip, and hopefully we see you back here next season for the Challenger Series and maybe compete for that championship. But I know we're going to see you in Atlanta here in just about 30 minutes' time. Another fun racetrack. We'll see you there.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
So that was Philip Brewer, driver of the number 44, came ever so close to winning his first race of the season, but quite the finish there. But it was Brian Chambliss getting the race win tonight, and I believe, Logan, you are standing next to Mr. Chambliss in victory lane.
We do have the number 9 driver, that Bucky Chevrolet, one of my favorite paint schemes on the track, mind you. But Brian Chambliss, Logan and Jeff up here in the V-Speed booth, you got a copy.
We got you.
Man, fantastic race all race long. Big battles between you, the 44, the 03. There was no shortage of just absolute driving skill being on display. But Brian Chambliss, you take home the race win in the last race of the Challenger Series here with Saturday Night Racing. Just, what are your emotions like right now, man?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'm glad to get a win. A little bit of luck played into that. We had a pretty good long run car there. I didn't have so much short run. That's where I tend to struggle at historically, is I'm not fast on the short run, but there on the long run, I'll be able to start reeling you back in. But those last, 2 runs there, I kind of really had the tire advantage there, being the caution fell right where I needed it to be able to, get a little bit more track position and get a little bit of a tire advantage. And then, when we went through that green flag pit stop there, I had a decent stop, and Noah didn't have a very good stop. I think Philip, he came out 2 laps earlier than me, so I had 2 laps fresher tire. So just about being patient and knowing that I was probably going to get to him, but I think I took a little too much time. And then when I did get to him, I had to push a little harder than I wanted to. But Philip, he really raced me real clean there. He got to my outside that once, which kind of surprised me. But he held it clean. I held it clean. There wasn't really any bumping and banging. I kind of expected him to give me a little nudge into the corner, because when I'm running a defensive line, it's hard to get around somebody unless you have a lot faster car. So all good there. But yeah, happy to get a win. Good, good season for all these guys. Congrats to our champion. Really, he showed what you can do when you stay consistent and race clean, and you can come away as a champion here. So that was great to see.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the battle with Philip Brewer, and not a whole lot of door-to-door action as you would see in most cases, but he did give you one good shove there into turn 3 on that final lap, but you held it down very smooth, and you were able to keep the momentum out through that corner. But, Jeff, is there anything you'd like to add to this?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it was just such a blast to watch you guys battle it out. And I got to call out the fact, Brian, I picked you from the start here. I figured this was going to be a really good racetrack for you. Obviously, high tire wear. And you mentioned, like you said, long runs are where you feel most confident. And tonight we got one of those. We didn't get to get a whole lot of them this season here in the Challenger Series, but we had a fantastic race tonight. So it's fun to watch that. And just big congrats to Brian on a race win. I know he's going to be a threat here at Atlanta in about 30 minutes, Logan.
Yeah, absolutely will. But Ryan Chambliss, anybody you'd like to say thanks to before you depart?
Yeah, sure. I'd like to thank all our sponsors, right? So I'd like to thank 29 Graphics, J Distributors, Walking and Rolling Costumes, and Clark's Print Shop for coming on board with this whole league here. We really appreciate their efforts, and their support for us is really the only way we can put some of this stuff on. So I appreciate them, and we'll see you guys here in a couple minutes, hopefully with just as good a result. But we'll see what happens. You never know.
Sounds like a plan, Brian. We will see you shortly. Thank you for your time, sir.
Yeah, thanks.
And Jeff, we might as well just go ahead and talk to our points champion here tonight. That'll be Dakota Floyd in that 57 machine. We'll just, I don't quite have a graphic for it, but we'll just nickname you the driver of the day. Dakota Floyd taking home the points champion. Man, you've been nothing but consistent all season long. You've been a great driver to drive against on the field. Just give me a quick rundown of your season, buddy.
It's been a hard season. That is 1,000% a fact. Every week was never a guarantee with the strength of field. It's been one of my most consistent seasons I've probably run in a long time. We were able to show up week in and week out and put really good finishes on the board. I think we only had really one race where we got spun out and damaged up, and that was Kansas. And having a drop week, I was able to get rid of that race. And we had one bad strategy call it Chicagoland, where it cost us to finish outside the top 10. But outside of those two races, I think being consistently in the top 5, top 3, almost having a couple wins there early in the season, really helped us put this championship together.
Absolutely. And again, like I mentioned, very tough competitor on the track. Always willing to help people in the Discord as well. Overall, couldn't have picked a better driver to take home the championship here for this inaugural season of the Challenger Series. But I think Jeff had a couple questions for you as well.
Couple questions or just pointing out a couple facts here. Just what an incredible season by Dakota Floyd. I mean, 7 top 5s on the season out of a 10 race schedule, 6 top 10s. So you're obviously very consistent. That's what it takes to win championships, and 0 penalty points. So we do things kind of different in this league with cause cautions. Those are penalty points. The champion didn't have any cause caution, so one of the cleanest drivers. So big props to you on that, Dakota. Just looking at all your results for the season, you came really close. One race that stuck out to me was Martinsville. I felt like you maybe had the speed there to go up and win the race had it gone long. It just really never got the opportunity. I know you probably would have loved to win, but I mean, winning the championship, that's the goal at the start of the season, right?
Oh, absolutely. Championship is always the big trophy you won at the end of the season. Wins are cool if you can get them, but you could get 3 wins and have bad 7 races and not get the championship, So yeah, I absolutely agree with you. It's just the wins didn't happen, but the championship at the end of the season was the more important fact for me.
Well, something tells me, if we get another season of the Challenger Series here together, I think you are going to be in a good spot to probably go and repeat. Just looking at the results, I mean, 2nd at Martinsville, 2nd at Nashville. Michigan, you had a great run, 3rd place. Then a 4th at Iowa, 4th at Charlotte, and 4th at Bristol. So you obviously were super consistent, and that's what it takes to win a championship. So big congrats on that, Dakota. And Logan, I don't know if you have anything else to add, but stellar season here by Dakota Floyd.
Yeah, can't complain whatsoever. Again, the stat line just proves itself. All of those top 5s, all the top 10s, just consistency was key for you. But Dakota, is there anybody you'd like to give a quick shout out to for your success this season?
Teammates for sure. Everyone that I ran with in this league, and everyone racing me super clean, respectfully, but they not willing to just give up the position and racing me hard and making me earn every step of the way. So not only shout out the team, but shout out the entire league, the fields that showed up with a 25+ car field every week. I mean, it was phenomenal. I couldn't ask for any better. And thank you to all the admins and everybody in SNR that helped put this first season together and everything they do for this league and community. I mean, it's awesome to be able to come and race here. I'm super happy I came and found you guys. So definitely shout out to everyone that makes this show happen. And thank you to V-Speed. You guys are doing a phenomenal job. Very professional broadcasts for us to go back and watch these races and giving us a phenomenal season to put on a show for everyone that watches. And really couldn't ask any more from every party that was involved. And thank you to everyone that watched week in and week out. Like I say all the time, without you guys, we don't have a show to put on. So thank you to everybody.
Very well said by the driver of the 57 and your SNR Challenger Series champion with his first season, Dakota Floyd. Thank you for your time, sir, and we will see you in a few short minutes at Atlanta.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, guys.
Well, Jeff, it's been quite the season. Can't complain whatsoever. It was just overall so good from start to end. I'm glad that I got to be a part of it. And man, what are the outlooks of this season from your standpoint, being in the booth all year? And then what are we looking at for potential season 2 here?
Yeah, at the start of this thing, we wanted to try something new. Obviously, we got our SNR Cup series that runs every Saturday night, but we wanted to branch off and try to expand things. And, as, all 5 league admins, we all got together and discussed this. We thought it would be a good idea. And, I can say up here after 10 races and crowning our champion here tonight, I definitely think it was a success. And that's just, props to, the admins behind the scenes running things. So guys like Chad Klinger, Reggie Ortega, they were primarily doing the Challenger Series admin stuff, and allowed me to be up here and call races with you guys with V-Speed, which was just a ton of fun. And we got to see our best race of the season, I would say, right here at Homestead with you, Logan. So I think you picked a good race to be the one to call. I know that you competed all season long, and we're top 10 in points here as well. But yeah, it was a lot of fun, and I think it would be great to get back out here for a season 2. So we'll have to look at the plans for that and see if that's in the cards. But yeah, definitely a success and a lot of fun this season.
Absolutely it was, but like you said, just fun overall. Really hoping for a season 2, but in the meantime, we've got Atlanta to get to in the Cup Series. So just to end this off here, thank you all for joining us all season long for the Saturday Night Racing League Challenger Series, brought to you by J Distributors, Walking and Rolling Costumes, Clark Print Shop, and 29 Graphics. From everybody at Saturday Night Racing and everybody from V-Speed, Adam Baker, Bradley Cooper, our normal producer for this series, Eddie Smith, Morgan Cook, and most importantly, our co-commentator Jeff Wright all series long, and all of our fantastic producers and commentating staff from V-Speed. I've been Logan Threlkeld. Thank you, and we will see you at Atlanta very shortly.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Mako Tool Supra.
Comes back. He's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to... Joshua Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of J Distributors for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
They had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time, and they know it.
The bottom surges to the inside, now pulls even with Hutton off the turn number 2.
900 horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.